Hey guys, Chad Hoover, Kayak Bassin TV. I'm here at ICAST 2016, and what I'm about to show you is probably the most anticipated boat that Wilderness Systems has ever put out, especially for one that is the second edition of an existing model, and that's the A.T.A.K 120. A.T.A.K stands for Advanced Tactical Angling Kayak. You guys have seen me for the last year plus, really beating up the world, beating up the water in the A.T.A.K 140. Right out of the gate, the first questions are, when are you guys going to make that in a 12-foot version? When are you guys going to make that in a smaller version for rivers? When are you going to do this? When are you going to do that? Well, listen, we took a long time to make the right A.T.A.K the first time. We spent more time and did more models of prototyping on the A.T.A.K 140 than we ever did on any other boat, and we actually went better than that on the A.T.A.K 120. So if you've watched the show, if you've seen what I've done in the A.T.A.K, then there's a guy standing right here to my left named Hanz Nutz. Hanz is the lead designer for this project and has been on a couple of shows, and you've seen him talk about the A.T.A.K 140. So it's only fitting that Hanz is the guy that tells you about the A.T.A.K 120. We've been testing this thing pretty much since halfway through the finishing of the 140, and we're now at ICAST revealing it to the public. So instead of doing this quick, overview, fluffy thing, I want you to do a tip-to-tip, bow to stern, all the features, all the thoughts, why this was put there, why that was put there, and talk about this boat for the folks at home. So I'm going to turn it over to Hanz to tell you about the much anticipated A.T.A.K 120.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Chad.
No problem.
I guess the first thing I'll just cover a couple of details. The boat is about 34 3/4 inches wide, so this is going to be the stability that we had in the 140. We're able to keep that in the 120. So you're going to have all that stability. And the best part is that we were able to keep all of that floor room, so the footprint of this thing is going to feel exactly
pretty much the
like
same cockpit, right?
Same cockpit. So right off the bat, you're wondering, where did we get rid of 2 feet? Well, we did a couple of tricks here to make that happen.
Right here in the hatch is part of it.
We lost a little bit in the hatch and a little bit in the stern, and we were able to make a boat that really feels very similar to the 140, just 2 feet shorter. So. And
look, let me tell you something. When we were testing this boat, unlike any other test phase we've ever been in, including the 140, we would get to a point where we had made compromises. And it was like, man, I really wish it was just that way. I really wish this was this way. Hanz would go back to the drawing board and make it that way. So by the time this thing was finished, and that's why it took as long as it did, it was right. Yeah. And when you get to the back, you're going to see why. So anyway, Hanz, keep taking us through the boat.
A couple details. Up front, the same hood type, but we're going to have the same type of storage up front, a big tank well area. We've got some features that we're working on where we're going to have actually a mount up front here, so you can actually do your anchoring to the bow of your boat. And this is really great for river fishing, because we know a lot of people are going to want to do some river
or fishing into the wind, because that's what makes the most sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And then moving back here, we've got all of the features for mounting things like your camera mounts up front.
Your mighty mount from A.T.A.K, a little small gear track, whatever you need.
That's right. We're going to have the same pod system
Same
here.
flex pod.
Flex pod with fish finder. We've added a transducer scupper to the gear tray area, and that's going to allow you to have that side structure scan.
So what's exciting about this is for the first time you can actually have your standard transducer. You've got the right amount of separation. You can run a second transducer on the boat, or you can run your primary transducer there and use the front just for battery storage, but it gives you some options to play with when you're running multiple transducers, structure scan, and things like that. And you can also change it around and get modular with the way you set your boat up. So super excited about that. That second scupper right behind it underneath the old drink tray.
Sure thing. And as I said before, all the foot room back in the seat area. We've got the Promax Seat. Promax Seat has some new attachment mechanism, and now this seat is going to be able to go forward and back.
Right.
So you can get it back out of the track and flip it out of the way. So just adding some extra functionality, and we've got some new cam levers for that. On the back of the boat, we've got some pretty neat tricks here. You want to talk about the power pole mount?
Actually, I want you to talk about it, but I want you to grab the camera and come this way, Will, so we can get a good look at one of the most exciting features about the boat. So I'm going to pop this Yeti Roadie out of the back. And here's the cool thing about this. You got room to fit your Roadie in the back, and you still got room for a gear management system. You can put your black pack in there fore and aft. You can put it in sideways.
Yeah.
You can put an oversized eye chest back here. So when I pull this thing out and you check out that tank well, I just want you to know it's got a ton of space.
Yeah, I redesigned this area, tried to leave a lot of functionality with this, and the capacity actually is just great. What you have here is a nice flat area behind the seat. So the function here is you can add a cooler, or your lunch bag, that sort of thing, or a battery that goes.
And you don't get that tippy feel. So if you take the seat out and you put a cooler in there, you got a stable platform for it to sit on.
And the great functionality here is you can actually mount a power pole behind your seat, and you're going to run that power pole down through the scupper. And that's
it gives you a power pole that's actually accessible while you're sitting in the seat. You don't have it all the way in the back, and you don't have to worry about the fail-safe when you pull the cord to get it to fold over. You can actually reach back and just pull the pole out of the power pole. If your battery runs down, if you have a unit failure, whatever thing may happen, but more importantly, it puts the pivot point closer to the seat. You're not weather vaning as bad, and it doesn't take up your whole stern if you decide to do a motor or some other configuration in the back. You've got more options for mounting the power pole.
Absolutely, great spot. And then the other thing we kind of went past it, but the 3D seat is compatible with the A.T.A.K 120. So you're going to have all of that storage for gear track on the side. 3D seat still fits it. And you've got this nice large tank well.
And so if you're standing up, flats fishing, sight casting to redfish, flipping and pitching to bass, or you just don't like sitting down all day, this Air Promax 3D seat is huge. Throwing a cooler underneath it, going from the cooler to leaning against this makes a day on the water, especially when you're standing up all day, a lot more bearable, a lot more manageable, and a lot more effective. Because when you're fatigued from standing, you're less likely to do it, and you're less likely to be able to see the fish. So when you can take a load off on this Air Promax 3D seat, it just makes the boat that much more effective. All right, so let's go to the back. This is this is pay dirt for this boat. This is legitimately an industry first. Nobody has done this yet. I'm super excited about it because I always have to make decisions. Am I using my power pole? Am I using my torpedo? Do I have to take the rudder off to put this accessory on there or that accessory?
Yep.
With this configuration, with the ability to put 2 power poles on there, you've got the ability to just conquer the wind. So if you're in a flat or if you're in a backwoods slough and you put your power pole down, you don't swing downwind anymore. You don't have to use a second hand operated anchor pole. You can put both power poles down and lock yourself down. I've actually caught fish this way, set the hook, the fish pulled me over, and as soon as I picked the fish up, the boat was back where it started at. So there's some twisting when you get into that 7 or 8 foot of water, but it brings the boat right back to where it started. It's great for filming, it's great for fishing, and it's awesome for managing boat position. But more importantly, you've got the configurability of putting a power pole in the center, a motor on the side. You can put 2 power poles and a motor in the middle. You can still use your rudder with the power poles. You really don't give up any functionality.
And that's one of the things we were asked about was, can we have a rudder and a power pole?
Absolutely.
Easier to have that access.
So instead of doing what some companies have done and build the big bracket that comes up and your power pole sitting on top of it so you can still use your rudder, but you lose 3 feet of usable power pole length, this allows you to use the power pole. You can use one off to the side, you can use the other one off to the side, you can use both, but you still get to use your rudder.
Yeah.
So you want to set this thing up with a power pole, a rudder, and a torpedo, any kind of motor configuration, or literally the sky's the limit for what you can do.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about setting one up with twin torpedoes on the back of it. I'm just saying. So, guys, that's it. That is the Wilderness Systems A.T.A.K 120 in-depth look with the man himself who designed it. The stuff that he did in the back here blew my mind because I'm the guy. I'm the fat guy that goes and tests these things. And we went out and put it through the paces.
We did,
and this boat is rock solid. I got pictures of me standing in the back of it, flipping and pitching to bass. If you're looking for a boat that can handle anything you can throw at it, and you're not paddling 10, 15 miles, or if you want to throw a motor on it, cover a lot of distance, but still have the most maneuverable, solid platform on the water that has the most riggability of any fishing kayak out there, check out the Wilderness Systems A.T.A.K 120 at wildernesssystems.com.
Cool.
Thanks, bro.
Appreciate it.
That was awesome. Cool.
I think that was the longest run through.
That's what we need.